Peace, and Black Power. What's going on, family? Welcome to another Blueprint for Black Power study session. I am Kimba of We Charge Colonialism, grassroots think tank. I want to appreciate everybody that's viewing and will be viewing this podcast, this discussion. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and make sure you like and share this podcast. So this is the Blueprint for Black Power study session. Wasn't with you guys last week, so missed a couple of weeks, but we're going to get into it tonight. This is where we examine Dr. Amos N. Wilson's text, The Blueprint for Black Power. I'm supposed to do my mic check and make sure I'm good. If you guys can't hear me, if there's any issues with the volume, just let me know in the chat. But so during this session, I examined Dr. Amos N. Wilson's Blueprint for Black Power. We go into the text. We're doing an exegesis on this text. I'm really going through it a Amani Uhuru. So I assume I can be heard. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Y'all know I'm going to go in. Y'all know I'm going to go in. So it's been a long day. I've been chatting away all day since 9 a.m. just involved in podcasts and discussions. And so, but I'm going to still give you guys the energy. I'm still going to give you guys the energy. And we're going to go through this text. So the point of going through this text, though, the way that I'm going through it is so that we can embody what Dr. Amos N. Wilson is saying. I want us to be a walking book. Just like the Christians, they walk and they talk that Bible. I want us to be able to walk and talk the Blueprint for Black Power. I mean, there's so many other texts, too, that we need to be studying. So this definitely isn't the only text to study. But I think it should be a foundation. It's called the Blueprint for Black Power. What else should we be doing, right? Outside of organizing for Black Power. So, everything else we reading should revolve around this text. All right, let me turn this off. So this 900-page text is covering different areas that we should be focusing on, that we should be building institutions on. In the beginning of the text, though, like the first 5 or 6 chapters is really dealing with our understanding of power and power relations, getting us to understand, how do you exercise power? How does other groups exercise power against you? What are some of those bases of power that we need to secure? What are those bases of power that others have secured that's keeping us under their control and keeping us dependent on them? So he gets into the power, the self-concept, your identity. We identify ourselves as a use of power. So there's a lot that goes on in this first chapter that sort of just gets us in a mindset to prepare us for the actual implementation of power. Now, how do we secure power? But I'm jumping the gun. We still on chapter 1. So I'm going to go into influences power. Again, everybody that's tuning in, appreciate you, but you have to like, you have to share. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already. I'm Ikemba Ajore, one of the writers, researchers of We Charge Colonialism, grassroots think tank. Part of our mission is making sure that we can collect this data, put the information out, combat the institutions that have historically brainwashed, manipulated African people into thinking that the system that we're a part of, there's nothing wrong with the system. There's something wrong with individuals. So I'm gonna get into the text because influences power kind of talks about this as well, this manipulation. So I'm on page 15. Anybody that's following along, I'm on page 15. I'm starting at the last paragraph on page 15. Let's get into it. So influence as power involves the power holder's ability to gain his subordinate subjects' voluntary acceptance of and behavioral compliance with the power holder's interpretation of reality, value judgments, prescriptive suggestions, and commands based on the power holder's perceived status, resources, personal social attributes, competence, expertise, or legitimate authority. So bear with me, y'all. I'm going to read that again, and then I'm going to go through the rest of the paragraph because it's an important way to open up this paragraph. Uh, Influence as power involves the power holder's ability to gain his subordinate subjects' voluntary acceptance of and behavioral compliance with the power holder's interpretations of reality, value judgments, prescriptive suggestions, and commands based on the power holder's perceived status, resources, personal social attributes, competence, expertise, or legitimate authority, right? Perceive. When power holders as a group possess a monopoly of the positions of influence due to historical and other social factors, they may use their influence as a means to secure and obscure their possession of other types of power, and at times render unnecessary the naked use of force and coercion. Okay, so that's the end of that paragraph. Before I'm gonna read the next paragraph too, but I want to just stop there for a second, right? Because he's talking about even the perceive, what we perceive as, this is going to value what we as Black folks, as African people, what we value affects what has influence on us. And let's just be very conscious of that, because this is historically, this is what really put us in a bind, even after chattel slavery came to an end, right? And we were still, or colonialism, the formal colonialism and formal slavery, when that came to an end and we came into this new way of oppression and exploitation, right, dealing with different methods, there was something that we valued about the colonizer that kept us trying to integrate within that society. It had to be some sort of manipulation and influence that they had. But there's things that we value, like we value people with, generally speaking, value people that are perceived to have power. And how do they have power? Because they control land, they have property, they have money, maybe the way that they talk, right? These are things that affect, if we come across people and they speak articulate or they speak well, right? We perceive them in a particular way, right? We respect them. We feel like they're smart, they're intelligent, right? So what they say, they can say some nonsense. They can speak straight nonsense. They can talk straight, flat out lies. What the colonizer does, right? Because who can speak the language better than the colonizer is their language. So they sound so articulate when they speak, not all of them, that we think that they're authorities, and we listen to them. And a brother from the streets who may not be able to articulate the same way that they can, but got some common sense and some understanding, can say the same thing, but we don't take it the same. We don't appreciate it or place the same value on what that person says because of the way that they're presenting it, or not even just the language, maybe because of the color of their skin, right? It's dark skin, boy, I'm dark skin, Black African. So this is something that I think like he's getting at in this first few sentences, that, again, I want to say it again: acceptance of and behavioral compliance with the power holder's interpretation of reality. Their interpretation of reality, we accept it, right? Because of this value we place in it, because of the influence. And why do they have influence on us? Why someone whose ancestors enslaved us, colonized us, right? What they say, their interpretation of reality holds more weight than our brothers and sisters next to us who are fighting to change that reality. The purpose of a revolutionary is to change that reality, to create our own reality. Let me not digress, all right? But, I just think that this is very important. So understanding influence, who has influence on us? It's my position that it is nothing that the colonizer can say that, we need to be fighting. There's things that we can take and interpret and maybe learn from it and apply it to our own framework and say, oh, how do we take this and apply it to an African-centered approach, right? So there's certain things that we can do, but in regards to just taking advice on how we should move forward, my position is like, nothing, no rules the colonizer has, the oppressor, none of their rules, none of their system, all of it has to go because it's been built at our expense. Now, are there Africans, people probably don't like it, all right, but is there Africans that benefit from the system? Yes, we can point to these people and say, oh, okay, yeah, this person is benefited from the system, but they're benefiting at the expense of their brothers and sisters, though. Look at how many billionaire, how many families can you find where you be like, this is a billionaire, family, a millionaire family, the brother, the sister has millions, the cousins has millions. Like, how many of those can you find? How many Rothschilds or Rockefellers and all of these people were generations, right? You're not going to find that. And if you do, it's very slim, And on the continent, it's another discussion. I'm gonna leave that for another day. But what I want to show, let me show you a quick clip. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm gonna show you like this influence and this interpretation of reality. I'm going to go to the Matrix for a second. Give me 2 minutes of the Matrix. I'm going to play this. Hopefully, y'all can hear. Right. So let me know in the chat if y'all able to hear that.
That system is our enemy. When you're inside, you look around. What do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters, the very minds of the people.
I'm going to bring this back.
But until we do, these. The Matrix is a system, Neo. That system is our enemy. When you're inside, you look around. What do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters, the very minds of the people we are trying to save. But until we do, these people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy. You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system, that they will fight to protect it. Were you listening to me, Neo? Or were you looking at the woman in the red dress? I was. Look again. Reason.
Listen to this.
This isn't the Matrix.
No. It's another training program designed to teach you one thing. If you are not one of us, you are one of them.
What are they?
Sentient programs. They can move in and out of any software still hardwired to their system. That means that anyone we haven't unplugged is potentially an agent. Inside the Matrix, they are everyone, and they are no one.
We have survived by hiding from them, by running from them. But they are the gatekeepers. They are guarding all the doors, they are holding all the keys, which means that sooner or later, someone is going to have to fight them. Someone. I won't lie to you, Neo. Every single man or woman who has stood their ground, everyone who has fought an agent has died. But where they have failed, you will succeed. Why? I've seen an agent punch through a concrete wall. Men have emptied entire clips at them and hit nothing but air. Yet their strength and their speed are still based in a world that is built on rules. Because of that, they will never be as strong or as fast as you can be.
What are you trying to tell me? That I can dodge bullets?
No, Neo. I'm trying to tell you that when you're ready, you won't have to.
We got trouble.
Hey, I definitely wanted to play that last part when right before I paused it when he said we got trouble, because when you unplug from the Matrix, you're gonna have trouble. Just how they was coming for them because they're unplugged. That's how the system. That's how the gatekeepers. That's how the people who are guarding this Matrix is gonna come for you. They came for the UNIA, right? The Universal Negro Improvement Association in Garvey, because they were unplugging themselves from the Matrix. They came for the Black Panther Party. They came for Malcolm X, right? They came for the Republic of New Africa. They came for the Revolutionary Action Movement. They came for Kwame Ture. They came for everybody that tries to unplug from the Matrix. They're going to come for you because they want to maintain a system of control over African people. So the other reason I wanted to play that too, in regards to influence and distractions. We talk about influence because that's what this section is about. Who are the people that you have influence on us that distracts us? Because that lady in the red dress, that lady, for my interpretation, right? That lady in the red dress is LeBron James. You know, that lady in the red dress can represent, you know, the Michael Jordans, the, you know, the actors that have influence on us that we value, right? We value these people because, oh, they're a great actor, or they're a great basketball player, or they're great this, that, right? But these people are part of the matrix. Like, they're not talking about revolution. They're not talking about overturning the system or building a new system, right? So these people are all of them are ladies in a red dress, right? And so because we value what they do too, that's that distraction. He's looking at the lady in the red dress and everything, and he turned back around, and what's right in front of him? Gun, ready to eliminate him. And that's what happens to us. Like, we're committing suicide in a sense when we allow ourselves to be distracted by all of these things that are influencing us. That is not there. I'm sorry, that is there representing or they're representing the system and our gatekeepers to the system. So we just had to be very clear on that. So I wanted to just show that part, and I'm gonna read this last paragraph, and then we're gonna sign out. All right. So influence requires that the subject subordinates his judgment to that of the other, that he is guided by the judgment of the other. As such, influence is a more secure and hidden form of power, in that the influenced subject complies with the demands of the power holder, either without questioning the role or motives of the power holder, or after being persuaded by the power holder's apparently logical argumentation. Consequently, influence as a type of power, as a type of rational, personal, propagandistic persuasion, may serve to render the possession and exercise of other types of power unnecessary and more secure, or to obscure them altogether. Thus, influence may itself function as an exceedingly potent or subtle form of power. Hell yeah, hell yeah. And it all comes from, you know, the colonizer, the oppressor being able to control certain institutions and having the power and control over resources that we need access to. It was a reason, historically, there was a reason why we didn't have access to certain things. And that was so that they can gain a monopoly over particular life-sustaining institutions. And Dr. Bobby E. Wright talks about this because we're reading Menticide, but he talks about how the European community controls all the life-sustaining institutions. And that's a problem. That's around the world, right? They control it, or they have tremendous influence over those people who may, on the surface, seem like they control it. So if we have that dependency on those people, of course, you're going to have people coming from your community that look just like you, who is going to that is African, but is European in mind. And this is, again, going back to the lady in the red dress when he talks about Morpheus said, all of these people are agents. If they're not unlocked from the matrix, if they're not thinking like the way that we're thinking, everybody that's probably viewing this or will be viewing this, how I'm thinking, they're locked into the matrix. They're not trying to overturn it. So when we have to deal with these, we have to be very clear. If our job is to make the unconscious conscious. Kwame Ture talked about that. But if they're not conscious, we have to understand that they're a potential agent for the system. Not potential. They are an agent for the system. They are an agent for the system. And I'm not talking about FBI. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about just an agent in the sense that they work for the system. And so we have to be clear. No matter your neighbor, your brother, sister, is our job again to make the unconscious conscious. But if we're not clear on that, then we're gonna end up like Neo when he turned around. He had the gun pointing at him. You think that this is your brother? How many leaders got taken out by their right hand person? Thomas Sankara, right? Malcolm X, who had an FBI agent right next to him when he got murdered. Black Panthers. We saw Judas in the Black Messiah, right? Well, that's Hollywood, but that's true real life story. His right hand or somebody that was close to the security, I think it was the security, turned on him. Agents of the system. So we have to be very clear on that. So that's it. You know, we're just covering influence. I'm going to continue. There's a few more paragraphs in influence, and then we'll go into legitimate, competent, and legitimate authority next time we meet up. So appreciate you all for joining us. I'm sorry I had to keep it short, the 20 minutes, but 21 minutes. Maybe sometime this week, since it's been a couple of weeks since I did one of these, I'll do something in the middle of the week. But before you leave, let me do this because we got something going on. I want you guys to visit our website for the Black Power Funds. We're talking about Black Power. Let me show this promo. That's right. So we're promoting food sovereignty over here. We charge colonialism. Make sure you visit the website. You know any farmers, you know any gardeners, people, you know, we want to support food sovereignty. Make sure you let them know that we have a sweepstakes. They can enter the sweepstakes by going to wechargecolonialism.org and applying for the Black Power Fund. So you can get more information once you visit our website about the Black Power Fund, which is going to be launched in February. So this February, right? Black History Month. Again, appreciate everybody for tuning in. We're going to continue this discussion. We're going to go through this whole book, The Blueprint for Black Power. And we're going to put a lot of this into practice too. So it ain't just going to be a whole lot of talking over here. So again, appreciate you all. Peace to the family, the usual suspects. Peace to all y'all. Sugar, Jabril. Appreciate y'all, Ali, you know, and everybody else that's tuning in. Till next time, all right? Peace.